I can't expand on how to get into this field. That's actually pretty easy and good question. So for those of you who are new or just stumbling across this channel, my name's Kelt and I study violent extremists and terrorism. And while there's two main paths to get into this field, there's multiple ways you can go about those paths. And for simplicity, I'm going to label these the action or the research path. The action path being a lot more of what I do, where you actually go out and you learn about violent extremism and terrorism by interacting, interviewing, and interrogating violent extremists and terrorists. And the different methods within the action path that you could take to get into this field is either military, law enforcement, or join a three-letter agency. Honestly, if you want to do it, I would suggest military or three-letter agency over law enforcement. All the problems of policing in America aside, it's the least likely that's going to get you actually into studying violent extremists and terrorists. You may eventually get there, but it's going to take a while. If you go the military route, you're going to want to look for an intelligence position. Your best bets are going to be take a human or a counterintelligence job. You could go intel analyst, and while you would learn a lot, you would never actually conduct an interview or an interrogation. You would just be reading the reports from people like me. If you're going to go three-letter agency, more than likely to get into their version of human and counterintelligence, you would need a degree. Some basic advice to get into three-letter agencies: when you go for your degree, don't make it Homeland Security or criminal justice. All the three-letter agencies will teach you criminal justice and Homeland Security. They want a degree in something else. One that may surprise you is accounting degrees actually will really be useful for getting into a three-letter agency. A big part of studying extremism and terrorism is the way they move money. If you want to go to the research path, you're absolutely going to need a degree. Ideally, you're going to want a degree in like sociology or psychology. You can also get away with like a political science degree, because you can study extremism and terrorism and how it affects the global landscape. But for any of these subjects, you really need to look past a bachelor's degree. The majority of people that I interact with that just sit down and analyze this from a truly academic standpoint with no field work have at least a master's degree, the majority of them at PhD level. Once you get your degree, you're either going to be looking again at three-letter agencies, but instead of going in the field doing like a think tank or an analyst position, or you're going to be looking at university positions. Hope that helps some, and if you're truly interested in the field, there's a ton of opportunities to get into it. So feel free to ask any more questions you have in the comments.